Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Bits and Pieces. Here, bit by bit, piece by piece, we want to explore all things Caribbean, all things South Asian, all things New York. All right, so please, we've got a very interesting uh, conversation for you this evening. We've got a great panel, and please stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It's in pieces, and we're talking cricket. We're talking New York cricket this evening. This past weekend, we had the New York National Cricket League's 30 and 40 over finals. Um, I want to bring on Sharma to, just quickly reintroduce yourself, and tell us about the weekend. Just give us a quick rundown on the weekend.
All right, guys. Good night. Again, my name is Sharma, no stranger to the show. Um, I'm the president of Phoenix Cricket Club and also the director for New York National Cricket League. As you guys know, we had a big, nice, exciting weekend of finals both Saturday and Sunday. The weather was perfect for cricket, blue skies. It was very entertaining on both days. Winners on Saturday for the 30 overs were Richmond Hill Liberty and, of course, Galaxy, the 40 over champions. If you were there, you know what it was. If not, catch you next year.
No, well, we can try to encourage them. We don't want them waiting until next year. How was the match from the umpires end, Brian? How were the matches? How were the finals from the umpires end?
It was a beautiful weekend out at Baisley Pond Park in Queens. We had a big crowd both days, much bigger on Sunday as the day carried on. All four teams throughout the weekend behaved themselves very well. They played the game well within the laws and the spirit of the game. And I was proud to be out there for the second time, for the second year doing NYNCL finals. So it was a great weekend. Thanks to Ramesh and Sharma and all the other organizers of the league. We had a really good setup. The pitch looked amazing thanks to Joe at the ground. And it was a really good weekend of cricket. As Sharma said, if you were there, you knew. All right. And we'll see you guys again as soon as cricket starts back up again next year.
Okay, okay. Rupe, could you and Jay Z and company please introduce yourself and just give us a quick rundown on your part, the role that you guys play.
Well, of course, Rupe Harricharan house sponsors, sponsor and founder of the club. Um, Very exciting to know that our plans have worked, and then people we have selected to put everything together as and turn out to be champions. We congratulate the league, congratulate all that involved with cricket, to, and we congratulate them one, and we encourage participated to um for all the
I'm,
years.
I'm losing some of your audio, Rupe. I'm getting some, but I'm losing some.
Said, so start all over again.
Yeah,
Those
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Bryan from the Legend Cookhouse. We're, we're the founder and sponsor of Galaxy Club, which was formed in 1994, and we have here our sponsors, Jay Z here,
Okay, good night, Jay Z.
here, and have Hawaii.
All right.
And now we had a plan coming in at the beginning. We set goal and we planned in, we put a plan, and it worked. Um, and that makes us happy, and we have learned something about how organizing.
Mhm. All right. Still having some trouble with the audio. I might give you some time to just go in. I mean, go out a little. And maybe come back in. But Yudesh, given that you are part of Galaxy, maybe you can give us some of what Ruth was trying to say.
Hi. Well, what he's trying to say, they're the sponsor, the co-founder of Galaxy since '94. They've put plans in place for the last few years. Roop was, and brought, well, Roop, Jay Z, by, and she came on board, and make her, put forth. Procedures in place and
Mhm.
making sure that our season goes smoothly. It was a lot of planning. It was a lot of ups and downs, of course, but in the end, we got it right. Um,
Okay.
they're good now.
Bring it close like this.
Yeah. So, but in the end, we.
All right. I'll come back. I'll come back to Ruth shortly.
Oh,
Sharma, as as one of the key organizers behind both tournaments, what did you see during the season that really lifted your spirits, made you say, okay, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm doing this.
I mean, there were a lot of positive this year, but the biggest takeaway that I have that I'm happy about is the quality of cricketers that we had this year in the league, especially. A lot of cricketers came up from the Caribbean and other Asian countries, and it developed the cricket here by them just being here playing around the local guys. All the young cricketers are very excited when they see these guys, and it forces them to step up their game. And in
Mhm.
terms of the clubs this year, I believe they had some excellent players. Almost every club went out there on any given weekend, a club could beat you. You cannot just look at a schedule and say, well, oh, I'm going to beat this guy today. No, this guy could show up and beat you, and you could be on top of the table all year. So that
Right.
was the exciting thing for me this year that I haven't seen in New York cricket, over the years. I'm sure Yudesh could attest to that. That it's been very exciting, and that's the reason why I was excited this year, and I think everybody was excited about that. And I'm excited to see how it continues and how it grows and going forward.
Okay. Okay. Brian, any any game, just not just the finals, but any game during the season would have stood out for you?
Sure. So I spent most of the season this year out at Randall's Island, a small island between Manhattan and Queens that has about 70 or 80 different athletic fields, including a huge tennis center and just one beautiful little cricket ground. Sharma's team, Phoenix, came and played there quite often. But a game that really sticks out to me on that ground was the Kingsmen. A Saturday league team, a 30-over team who came through on a Saturday one time, and on our small little ground put up more than 240 runs. I watched a man score 100. I watched a man hit a ball from inside of Randall's Island into the East River, and we watched it plunk down into the river about 100 yards away. And so that was a beautiful day out on Randall's Island. And yeah, so that's a game that really stuck out to me. It was a game where the Kingsmen absolutely destroyed their opponent. I can't remember which opponent it was because I think they did that 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it must be pretty interesting when an umpire is on the field and an umpire is actually enjoying the cricket, right? That's great. It's great.
If we weren't enjoying the cricket, I wouldn't be doing it. So that's why we're all here first and foremost.
I get that. Rupe, you guys are ready?
You hear? Still can you hear me or no?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So just to add to what Bryan has just said there regarding the quality cricket, that was our intention. That was our goal when we started the season, is to bring these young additions to our team, to inspire them, to bring in quality cricket, quality competition, and to entertain the fans, the crowd, people that come out there to see cricket. I think they are the ones that we need more of those people to come out in order for to see any success in cricket in this community here in New York. And that was our goal on my perspective. But I will let Daisy speak on the quality of game that was provided by bringing these guys on board.
All right, go ahead, Daisy.
Good night, guys. Daisy.
Good night.
Ahmed. We went out and got these guys like. Of the top.
Look, I'm losing your audio too, Daisy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead now.
All right. We went out and got John Fu, our player. We brought them here to showcase their talent around the New York players and try to motivate their cricket and bring cricket, bring the fans out to the field. So when they come out, they watch a great, some good games, some competitive, so to speak. That's our idea, to bring out the fans, quality of cricket. And these guys, they bring this out and around the younger fella here in New York, even the older guys, they learn a few things from these international players. And we are so happy to have them come out and without any hesitation, accept our invitation. New York, and they did well about the tournament. On every game that they play, they haven't been able, because of financial cricket, all the game. But we wish they could have played all the game. But whatever game they played in, they showed the fans some great cricket out there.
Okay. Great to hear. Sharma, in terms of now we know what Galaxy did and the model that Galaxy followed. It was evidently successful. Galaxy came out as champions. But in the league as a whole, how do you see us moving forward in terms of teams being able to attract players from outside of New York and that kind of
Well, for other teams, teams like Galaxy, ACS Everest, Richmond Hill, these are the guys that actually set the stage for New York cricket. They're the ones that been here for years, and they
thing?
develop and understand the management rules so much that they could be champions today. And by teams like myself, Phoenix, we're a very young team. We've been around for about 3 seasons now, but playing in cricket for a long time, I know I've watched these guys and these organizations how they did it, and I'm following that model. I'm taking bits and pieces, per se, your words, and
Right, right,
making something for myself. And I see other clubs are doing the same thing. Other young guys, young managers, young owners, they are looking to these established organizations and try to follow, as much as they can, the model there. In terms of gathering the quality of players, it will take time because
mm,
Galaxy has been around for 27 years. It took them that much time to get players to recognize them as an organization and for them to get quality players. It's not easy to approach a
right,
quality player as a young club and say, "Come play for me." It takes some type of trust there because they're putting their reputation at stake. But I think slowly it will grow because guys are now coming from the Caribbean. They're playing amongst guys that lives here and clubs that live here. For example, Galaxy plays on Sunday. My team now plays on Saturday. Being around these guys here, I have a few of Galaxy's guys who they brought up to play with me on Saturday. So
okay,
that way it translates. So whatever Galaxy did is helping the league, is helping my team. So forth for other clubs as well. They're helping other teams and other clubs, and the cricket is growing. And then these guys that can't play cricket in Guyana and Trinidad because of the COVID situation, they're taking advantage of all the game time here, which is developing cricket. Where they're from and developing their game and teaching them something new as well.
right, 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 great. Yudesh, what would you say was the high point of Galaxy's tournament? I mean, we know you guys lifted the final trophy. The trophy is, I think it's somewhere behind you. We can squint our eye. We can see the trophy somewhere behind you. But what was the high point for you, playing this season?
I think the high point is preparing. Know that what was required, know what our team need, holes to be filled, and plug all those gaps. You want to leave. You don't want to leave any gap there. You want to make sure that you have a full rounded team and all round in all department. And any given day that you want to put out a team there that in the playing 11 you must have 11 match winners at any time. So the planning and getting a core bunch of guys sticking together helped us for the over the last few years as well. And with a new addition with the guys that came from Guyana, Johnson Fu, Devendra Bishu, who came for the first time and with
Mhm.
us, and Moti Fu was there. They bring they were very impactful players, and make everyone around the team raise their game. They want to be, you know, live up to expectation. And with these guys around, you must, put your game on. So it
Right,
helped
right.
us preparing and making sure that all the gaps were plugged.
Okay, great. Rupe, what's the immediate plans? I know the T20 is coming up, but what are the plans in the off season during the winter? What's gonna happen there?
Well, we often try to keep our core bunch of guys together. Um, because of COVID for the past 2 years or year and a half, we haven't had the opportunity to really take tours. And tours was one of the main off-season
Okay.
activity for Galaxy Cricket Club. And Yudesh could tell you that the Galaxy Cricket Club, from the inception, has toured the Caribbean, the tour Texas, New Orleans, um,
Florida,
Florida, and
Canada.
there was always tours going on, and you know, and that kept the core group of guys together and bring a lot of fun to the team. You can't get only serious competition. You must get a guy who are willing to have fun, who are willing to, you know, gather as brothers and and so forth, make rough joke and men matter up. It's not always about serious business. It's always about fun, and that's the environment you want to keep on the field and off the field. There's times when you're gonna have, during the off season, people feel that they want to explore other things, other clubs, but the foundation that you set and the memories that you could have created would keep them grounded in many ways. Um, like at the beginning of our season, it hasn't been all cheesy and smooth, but we kind of learn from our past, learn from the behavior of certain individuals and people who join the club, and we don't try to push them out. We try to encourage them. We try to uh, put forward some positive that they could bring, and to forego the negatives, and 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 those are the expectation. Now we always planned from the end of this season. We are starting to plan for next year, and
Okay.
and the planning is generally for me is to keep my sponsors together. There's guys who go out there, not only give them money, but they participate. They come to meetings. They go out to games. They contribute in their advice. They contribute in the nurturing and try to find other players who would like to join the club. So you know our planning
Okay.
continue.
So,
Even
all right. So we're already in the planning stages for next year,
definitely
basically.
we all
Okay.
plan. We have these guys who would like to add. If one person would like to add, or someone would like to add to what I've just said, I might forget a couple of things. I don't remember. There's a whole lot of stuff had to be done,
Hmm.
but our core and this is for other clubs who would like to learn and learn from our model. Um, we are often and consistently seeking to bring more people in business. Our goal really is to have business and the sports link the two together and bring the best out of for both worlds.
Okay.
Uh,
Great. Great. I think that'd be a real great concept to realize if business with
yeah,
business and sports coming together. Sharma, how do you see that happening? I mean, I'm sure in your capacity, you would have had to, reach out to sponsors and so on. But how do you see business and the sport of cricket gelling in New York City?
Well, obviously, the sport of cricket needs revenue. All the clubs needs revenue. That's very important, and we do, heavily rely on the local businesses that's around us. And it will be ideal if we could link that. You know, I think we are looking at some ways and how we can bridge that gap per se, where we can both benefit. Because as of right now, the cricket I don't, there's not too much we can give in terms of a return back to a business to put in X amount of money with us. It's all about marketing at this point. There's not much of a return. So if we can figure out a revenue stream from the cricket that will benefit the businesses, I guess more business will come on board. But that's something we really need to figure out. But it goes back on to facilities that we don't have. We
Okay.
can't per se charge for a game because we don't have that type of facility. So that's where all of that comes back to that. So, but eventually, I'm hoping that one day we get to that point where we can work hand in hand because that's how the sport is going to grow. We need the revenue. In all honesty, for the love of the
Right.
game, it's only going to take you that far.
That's fine. Right. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, you're watching Bits and Pieces NYC, and we're talking cricket. We'll be back shortly. Sharma, tell us about some of the awards that you guys set up, including the umpire, the tokens given to the umpires. Tell us about it.
Okay, so we like to keep it mutual for both days, even though the 40 overs is seen as the important premier cricket. Everybody look at Sunday as being the premier division or the premier mecca of cricket on Sunday. Saturday is just a addition, a bonus. But we try to keep everything similar and give everybody and treat everybody the same way. We gave some medallions to the umpires. There were three umpires there, two that was in the field and then one that was just patrolling, and I think they all did a wonderful job. It was great. We also gave out best batsman for the day, best bowler for the day, MVP, and then obviously the winner runner-up trophies. And there were also some cash incentives for the best bowler, best batsman, and MVP as well. And we also gave out some plaques for our sponsors. And we also honored the 113 precinct, which is the neighborhood precinct for Baisley Pond, because they come out there and they support us and they ensure that we're all safe. And that's very important to show them that we appreciate all the work that they're doing. Also, the park department as well. And they were on site and they were very appreciative of us. And so we try to build that relationship and involve the entire community in everything that we do. And the NYPD also have a cricket team, which is a big step for cricket to get the NYPD involved. And we honor them as well because we do work hand in hand with them, and we're trying to get them on board as much as possible. So it's a give and take. But right now we're looking mostly, since we are new and we are building, we're looking at the giving aspect rather than the taking aspect.
Okay, great. We want to talk a little about the social aspect of the game. Now, Bryan, I saw you enjoying some West Indian food
Hmm.
after the game, last week.
Hmm.
Um, tell us, from your peculiar vantage point, what can we do to boost the socialization part of it?
Hmm.
There's the game on the field, but in terms of what's happening on the outside,
Hmm.
from your own perspective, what can we do to boost that?
Hmm. I love the idea. Considering where I grew up in the suburbs outside of Philadelphia, I love the idea that my idea is the peculiar one. Because when I step into a place like cricket, I am often the only guy who looks like I do. And so I like that. I like the idea that having grown up in a mostly white space, that coming into cricket, I'm considered the peculiar one. And I just love that. I love that I'm able to experience cultures and people, and the food is really a part of that. Depending on which teams you have playing that day, really depends on what kind of food they're going to serve you after the game. I'll often stop off and have some jerk chicken first with one of the Caribbean teams, and then I'll walk over and one of the Punjabi teams is making curry over on this side. So I go home and I'm supposed to cook dinner, and I've said, "Oh, I've already eaten. Sorry, you can fend for yourself." So that happens now and again. So food is a big part of it. As far as engaging the crowd that's coming, I love the idea that there are always food sponsors, that there is always food around. It's a way to explore the culture of the game. I think that technology is going to continue to play a bigger role in promoting our game. Even before the game on Saturday and Sunday, we had people at the toss going live. There was a guy there who was doing the commentary for the game all day on Sunday, who went live to 500 of his followers just before the toss, and me and the other umpires gave a bit of an interview. And I think that we probably got some more people to the game because of that. So I think
Right.
engaging with modern technology, reaching out, especially to the young people who want to play this game. This game is an aging man's game sometimes, and I think if we want to keep bringing in new generations of kids now, especially, we're going to have to look into using technology and social media a lot more. So I like that that's happening. I like that I can, after the game, see tweets and Instagram posts about the game that I was just at. First,
Okay.
because I'm looking for pictures of myself, but that's a different story.
I'm sure I got one of you.
Yeah, they're in there somewhere.
Yeah, technology is very important, Nancy. And we had both days live streamed on YouTube. So we had followers all the way from the Caribbean looking at the games, following, commenting. They're talking to each other on on what's going on. So that's very important. That's something new that we did this year that we didn't have the previous years. And it's something we're looking to build on. We're hoping that we can have some replays, some more addition that the international level have. We can try to bring it to locally as much as we can so the guys can have that experience. So when they do get to that point, they'll know what to do and they'll know what to expect.
Okay, okay, great. Now, Yudesh, one usually at most cricket games we see Yudesh, we see Sadler. All right, we see your wife. Now, I think it would really, and I think Brian would agree, and Sharma. Um, it would be nice to see more wives and girlfriends and so on at the game. In terms of that area, Udesh, what can we do to really attract more of the ladies?
Well, a lot of the ladies probably don't understand the sport as much. We as men, we have to explain the sport. It's a very fun sport, and you have to
Mm,
understand something to enjoy it. My wife, of course, she supports me, but she also understands the sport well. She enjoy it. Um, she comments. She tells me sometimes when I'm doing not doing something good or in plain perspective. So it in educating them on the sport and it's for me as well. I'm lucky that she grew up loving the sport. Where she from
mm.
in Berbice? It's a
Right,
big
right,
community. So and it's a family outing for me. Knowing that my wife is there supporting me, and it go hand
right,
in hand. She support me doing something I love, you know. And when she's ready to do her stuff, I'm supporting her as well. So it goes
right.
hand in hand. And getting the
Okay,
ladies out there and knowing that it's something fun and they can actually enjoy it. It's a way of getting them out
right, right, right,
and bring them
right.
out. And
Okay,
it's enhancing the crowd as well. And not
right.
only the ladies, kids as well, my little babies out there as well. So it's want to go out, run around in the park and all of that. It's good stuff.
Okay,
I think any opportunity to include women in the game, either as spectators or as scorers or as umpires or as players. I think starting in just a few minutes, we're going to have day 2 of the West Indies playing against, sorry, not the West Indies, India playing against Australia in a pink ball test match happening right now. So I think that the opportunities for women and girls should continue to expand. This is such an amazing game, especially for young kids who haven't played it before here in America. I know that reaching out to the expat community and the wider community in America is really important to growing the game here. And kids being able to play easily in a sort of non-gendered scenario, I think, is kind of amazing. Because growing up, they'll see like you have mixed gender baseball and soccer when they're young here in America. Also, is you'll see that. Especially the girls in a lot of ways will take on the sport really well because they often don't have as much of a background in it, or they're sort of more open when they're younger to playing a lot more and to sort of really investing themselves in the sport. And I think the more that this sport and the NYCL and the CCL and the minor league cricket and everybody that's making cricket right now should have a women's division. There should be women's divisions at all level, youth all the way up through, because I think it's a way that we're just going to continue to grow the game.
And
right,
it's
right,
it's
right.
good. It's a good friendly competition. And to add to
Mm-hmm.
that, my wife is the one who taught me how to score on the app.
Okay,
There you
great,
go.
great.
Always learning. There you go.
Great, great, great. Rup, we know there's a social component to what you guys are doing. From your end, as business people, um, how what role do you see you can play in terms of getting families and so on out to the game and making it this social thing?
Well, when it comes to bringing together, the of course we talk about bringing now m- now to encourage those guys to bring their.
Rup, 1 second. I think if you lean forward, we might hear you. Yeah.
All right, so So what I am saying is that at the beginning we try to put the team together so that these guys can come out and keep the sports intact. Keep, by keeping the sports intact, I think that it's part of the fabric of our society. Uh, they they can encourage bring their friends that is non-traditional cricketers to the ground. Bring their family out. But these things cannot happen if you don't have if you just have a bunch of guys who is going to act unrowdy or disrespectful. You know, you have to create activities. You got to create an environment for the family. I know I've been involved in cricket for a long time. At the beginning of my involvement back in the early 80s, or say middle 80s, when it was more family. You know, my uncle used to pick us up and we'll go and we'll have games. And we'll meet other family. And that was a kind of way of socializing and practice. And what I see, things have eroded, things have gotten strange. At one point, you would have a guy show up in the ground. He's not even committed to the team he is with. And sometimes when that happens, they're being disrespectful and distasteful, sportsmanlike conduct, and it impacted the game. People I would say about 10 years ago, the game I think was losing a lot of its original, original style. And now, we have lost an entire generation of cricketers. I mean, I would say that the average kid that aren't here, like I would use my example, bringing his family part. My kids grew up in the cricket. Every Sunday, my son, my brother's son, we all, and we they would go on there, they would play together. Uh, One guy would call, they would play on the court. Uh,
I'm losing you again, Rupe. I'm losing you again. You're saying essentially that back say 15, 20 years ago,
yeah,
we did have more participation from families.
with families, and
Okay.
because the fabrics of family was very much closely knit at that time, I believe. And as time goes by, I don't know, people get too busy or they get too consumed with other stuff. But what I think was the main issue, the guys started come to the park by themselves, not bringing their family. And a lot of times, at some point, it has been disrespectful. I'll call it the way it is, and have shun a lot of people away from the park and give the game as an old boy another hangout with liquor and behave badly. Um,
Oh, okay.
and I think that has driven an entire generation. For example, my boys, them that grow up at the cricket ground, from the time they were born, we take them to the cricket ground. My nephews, and we used to have other members from our. Yudesh know that all the boys from our club when he just joined it, they were bringing their family to the club, and at one point they stopped bringing their family, and that generation has gone. They're not participating in cricket. They think that is for old men and people who you know just come from Guyana, fresh off the boat, and all of that. And so that generation is lost. And
Oh,
by losing that generation, so much talent has gone in that direction. And now we are basically trying to scrap up what we have left of some guys, older guys, or people who developed their cricket in Guyana. Um,
okay.
so
What? No, let me break you there because before we lose the train. Um, Bryan, as you listen to Rupe say that that there was once this moment where families were
Hmm.
actually at cricket. You hear Rupe say
Hmm.
that, and now that is it seems we have to go back and do something that was already happening. Um,
Hmm.
do you see how we can mend that and bring back that family thing that Rupe was talking about that we had?
Hmm. Yeah, a couple things. I think that the not having as much money in cricket as we like, as Sharma mentioned earlier, as not having as much money in cricket as we would like, I think prevents us from doing a lot of things that could bring families into the game. I'm going to use the example now of the Gaelic Athletic Association, the GAA. This is Irish football and hurling. Now, they can pack 500 people into their stadium every weekend, and they have different price tickets for adults and for kids. They have a bar for the adults, and they have a place where the kids can go and play off the field. And generations of Irish people have been coming to 238th Street in the Bronx and going to Gaelic Park. I've been there, I've played there, I've watched games there, and what I think cricket doesn't have, and we've already mentioned it, is a gathering place. Where is cricket's gathering place in New York
Mhm.
City? There is not a stadium or a field or a pub or a place that we all go to for cricket. The Gaelic Athletic Association here in New York, it's very strong. There's many teams, but there is one association. In New York, there are 17 different leagues, as well as a couple different national leagues trying to impose theirselves on the leagues as well. And so I think cricket is very disjointed, and I think the kids can see that. It's not accessible. It's not right there on their phones. There isn't a live stream for every game, just for a final or something. And they don't know who's participating in it because the schools don't have it until high school, and that's just in some public schools. So I think if you can introduce cricket into the schools a lot more, which is something I would love to do. I'm a teacher. I would love to run after-school cricket programs. If anybody's offering that job, I'll take it. Um, and so I think that if we can get into the schools, I think if we can get cricket back into the culture of kids, to show them that it is accessible to them, to show them that it isn't just old men playing on a Sunday, but that on Monday through Thursday, you can come and train and you can come and play. And then on a Sunday, you come out, your dad is playing, your uncle is playing, everybody's there. There's food, there's music, it's a good time. And there's a stadium or a couple of stadiums, places where people know they can go to see the best quality cricket. And I think until New York gets that, we're going to have trouble keeping up. As I mentioned, Nancy, the last time I was on the show, they have
Mhm.
that in Houston. They have
Right.
that in Atlanta. I'm going to be in Atlanta in 2 weeks, and I'm going to go to their stadium, and they have turf wickets and stadiums. I think if we had that, it would go a long way to bringing a lot more kids, a lot more families, and a lot more eyeballs to our game.
Interesting. Sharma, the same thing to you. Are you familiar with some of what Rupe was saying in terms of families coming out 15, 20 years ago, but now that has all changed.
Well, it's a little bit beyond my age, but um, I do understand what he's saying, and in correlation with Brian is saying, I think they both link together. The behavior of certain members or certain clubs, it does drive away, any potential interest from females or kids to want to come to the ground. That is a big factor, and also, as Brian said, there is no place to gather here. You know, wherever you're playing at that set time, that's where cricket is being played. There's no home, there's nowhere to go to. And going back to females being part of the game, which is something that we will want them and we're trying to do as a league. But the big problem that we face is the environment. How do we, as a league, create that environment? Because we can only have so much control over the clubs and their attitude and their behavior. We can make rules as much as we want, but it's still up to them to carry it out. It's something that we have to touch, to their emotions and let them understand that how important it is to develop the game. It's not just to come out and drink, get drunk, and behave however you want to behave. But also, again, I keep saying every time I come here, facilities is what we don't have. For example, you're gonna have your wife or your daughter come to a game, and then you have guys changing right in front of them because there's no facilities, there's no clubhouse, there's nothing. He has no choice but to do that, and then she has to be there and watch that, and that's very uncomfortable. So that there goes back to environment. So we do need a gathering place. We do need certain facilities. We need to get there where we can have clubhouse like back home. Yudesh would know, Rupe would know. Every town in Guyana has a cricket club, and you have a spot that you go to, and then that spot will have the dressing rooms and have the facilities, and then you'll have kids playing basketball on the side and still being interested in the game. So we need to find a way to merge all of that together. But I think it starts with the clubs. You know, Galaxy, ACS, Liberty, Majestics. These are the guys that people look up to because of their player and their existence that they've been here for so long. So they have to continue and try to elevate the way they show themselves in public, and then I believe everybody else will follow.
Okay. All right. Like you said, we keep we would keep touching on the thing about the facility. So seeing that we have a few bis of the few members of the business community with us this evening, we want to throw the question out directly to Roop, Jay Z, and Boy. What do you guys feel businesses can do to ensure that we get a clubhouse like what Bryan, what Sharma, they both talked about, that we have a place in New York.
Okay, let me touch on that first, and I'll let each one of our guys put forward their views on this. My my take is that we must interject, and Nancy, you would know that I said that from the beginning. Nothing can happen without funding, without the money, and we are the guys who are in the cricket, who are in the clubs. They have to show a lot of respect and encouragement to the people who is on board sponsoring. They have to help us to be able to recruit more sponsors, to interject more funding to the cricket. Look, um, Galaxy has paid out about $20,000 this year for cricket to the players, and I'm bringing that up because, and it is tough to really raise that kind of funding. If we plan to do a fundraiser, cricketers hardly want to participate. Cricketers have to know that this is their time. This is something we're doing to help them out. I mean, we can fade away and we can go to our golden years, and that would end a lot of the funding that we put into cricket, in terms of all of that. Cricketers has to know that when there's a sponsor, they have to respect that sponsor. They have to support that sponsor. They have to help promote that sponsor of business. And those are the things that are going to translate into funding towards club. And the more money each club can be able to spend, it's going to be, the city, people are going to recognize that and realize that, they have to build a facility. They have to, so you get more people in the fold to really raise the awareness and raise the funds that is necessary to bring forth these things. Or else we're leaving behind and we're losing generation, we're losing participant, we're going to be losing spectators and losing people. To me, when you're in business, to gain one person is is like 10 times harder than to lose a person. So by the day we're losing people. I mean, you look at the big finals that's going on. I mean, you get 200-300 people out of, so I mean, one bar can pack 300 people if, in good times. But
Right, right.
you can't get 300 people to come look at the big game. That is so much sacrifice. So I'll let one of the other guys join because I have a
Okay.
lot to say. So Bhai is going to say something about that.
Okay, go ahead, Boy.
All right. Back to where Mr. Sharma was at earlier. I think for us to make something greater out of this thing is the clubs, although we play against each other, When it comes to funding, I think we should all come together. Many heads come together would make plans easier. And if we all come together and put our heads together and plan things, and then you go there and you play against each other, I think we would able to bring a lot more out of the game in terms of bringing out family, bringing out more funding. Us planning together, we're able to go out and reach all the other businesses in the community and ask them, have them come aboard and help with the sponsorship.
Right. Do you think we have that kind of maturity in the community? Because such an approach does call for a level of maturity. Do you think we have that kind of maturity in the community?
Yes, we do. We do. I mean, but we don't put it into action. We don't go and approach and get the feedback from them. And I think, just like how I came aboard on cricket, I mean, we can get many other people to do the same if we do it in the right way. And if we do it in a larger group, who knows? We can eventually get the city to build a stadium for us. If the group is bigger.
Numbers are power.
Yeah, numbers is power.
Where do you want that to come from? Do you want that to come from within a collection of clubs within the city, or are you more advocating for an idea like USA Cricket is going for, where there's now a national governing body who's trying to bring everybody together? How do you want to do that?
It's just like a baby trying to walk. I mean, you start to crawl, and then so we start with the clubs together, and then we expand clubs in New York, then we go clubs into state, and who knows, the whole country clubs come together once a year. We meet, we make our plans, what we want for the year, and then
that exactly would call for a governing body in the area.
Yeah,
to glue it together.
I also think cricket should be a fraternity. It shouldn't be because you belong to one team, you're an enemy of the other team. At the end of the day, because your numbers are so small, the group is so small of cricketers, they all need to get garnered together and bring forth their idea. I mean, your competition is on the field, but when you're off the field, you must show camaraderie. You must show that you're all in this thing for one purpose, is to make it bigger. And
so the players should start a union then? That's what you're advocating? The players should start a union and they should have all the power?
Not a union. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. But I would say the cricketing fraternity, everybody should have a brotherhood and don't see each other as enemy because you're playing for a different team. Organizers should collectively come together on a regular basis. I mean, I've been in cricket for almost 25 years. I've never met with another person. We never have, except for league meetings. And league meetings has its own ups and downs with that. I'm not going to say, good or bad thing about that. But the thing is that as cricketing body, as people who want the good of cricket, we all need to come together. We all need to have that regular meeting together. Not on a light moment. It's not for, just because there's something wrong, you have to go and iron it out. But to get together, to talk, to chit chat, to see, learn and know each other, so you can have trust, and that's where, things can happen and get bigger. I don't know. That's my idea in that sense.
Okay.
I give Jay-Z to say something.
Jay-Z, you want to add something?
What I want to say is, if more clubs bring out these, a little more of these international players. Now, these international players, draw a huge crowd to the park day in and day out. Every weekend, week out. Seeing a lot of people, spectators at the park. These business guys were willing to sponsor, knowing that maybe they'll get some business out of this crowd and stuff like that. So we need to what I'm getting at is we need to bring out some more recognized player, to bring the people them out, so the businesses sees these guys, sees opportunity out there for me to advertise my business, so to speak. And these clubs can gain more money, be better off financially, and then the clubs can get together and maybe make this sports a bigger sport. I don't know if Sheik wants to say anything, but that's my say in it.
Okay, thank you, Jay-Z.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Hey guys.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheik.
Well, I'm just gonna take a few seconds, and one, I think everybody has already hit on several different subject matter that if you collectively organize those subjects, I think we're on the right path toward a brighter future. So when the question is posed as to what can we do as businesses to support cricket so as to allow it to grow, that the youth of our children, that they can benefit from what we start here moving forward towards a brighter future for them in cricket. We go back to the basic fundamentals of funding that you guys have just hit upon very early in the program. Now, I know in corporate America, there's, as corporation gets larger, they set aside funding for the community programs. We need to become more organized and pursue the avenues on how we can extract those fundings. We may very well have to say that we will become more unionized, not such as the Teamsters, but collective effort on all of the groups and teams, the the leagues, all come together, get a plan together, hire people that could be the professional that goes after these fundings that these corporations have. We can solicit those funds and then distribute it as needed towards promoting cricket for a brighter future for tomorrow's.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sheik. Thank
And
you so much for that. Bryan, you wanted to respond? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Yudesh has been trying to get in here for a
Yeah,
while.
you
Go ahead, buddy.
did go ahead.
I think to add to that, to bring people to the ground, especially the club, the league can do so much, but I think a lot of the clubs are lacking of that social media exposure and exposing their club, and put their club out there. Like, there's only a few clubs that you can go on social media and know where the game they're playing today, what park, and a lot if these other clubs do that, I think, because a lot of spectators wants to know where certain teams play, and if they're not getting that, information, the spectators stay home, or do something else. But getting your club out there on social media, because social media is a big thing these days, and
Right.
getting your club out there and making people know where you are this week, next week, and you're going to playoff, and you build that fan base, and it's going to promote cricket and your club as well.
Okay. All right, we're going to close on that very note. Sharma, I see you at different games. You're with your camera, so I know, and you always post pictures to your social media, so I know you know the importance of that. What will the league be doing with regards to what you would say in terms of encouraging clubs to really get busy on social media?
Yeah, well, social media marketing, as I like to say, is very important for any organization. And clubs have to realize that they are an organization. A lot of clubs, I don't believe they feel they understand what they put together. They just, they think they're just a group of guys going out there. But it's an organization, it's a legit organization, and they need to realize that. And one part of having an organization is marketing. You have to sell yourself. If you're looking for funding, you have to sell yourself. And the biggest and the best way to do it is marketing social media. Everybody's on social media these days, and that's the way to go. So, as a league, we have our website, we have our social media page, and we try to highlight everyone equally as much as possible. We can't get everyone, so that's why it is important, as you just says, for the clubs to promote themselves and to let spectators know where they're gonna be. We can only do the specific games, playoff games or finals and stuff like that, because it's hard to look after 40 to 60 teams. One guy is difficult, but we'll try our best, and then we'll pass the information along, because we're not here only for the established team. We're here for the smallest team as well, and if we can guide them and get them to where they need to be, we'll do that, because everybody needs to grow together and learn from each other. And I wanted to touch base on a few things that the Rupe and those guys mentioned in terms of funding and how it's gonna work. I mean, cricket is very important to have funding, and we mentioned that the clubs need to get together and stand up and basically fight for what we want. Um, but I think somebody needs to step up. Somebody needs to step up and make the first move. And I'm gonna respond on behalf of the management of New York National Cricket League. We're the ones that's willing to stand up. The 4 or 5 of us that's here running the league, we're willing to stand up and voice for all the clubs and all the cricketers in New York, and let people know, let the politicians know that this is what we need. But we do need the support of the clubs and the players as well. So if you come out to us and say, NYNCL, we're with you, this is what we're looking for, let's talk, let's figure it out, let's get it done, because everybody's sitting at home saying it to themselves and their friends that this is what we need is not really going to help. So we need to stand up and do it, and I'm just providing a pathway. NYNCL is the pathway to get to what you need. We just need your support.
All right. I think that's a great note to end our broadcast this evening. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out your lives to sit with us. The T20 is coming up, right, Sharma?
Yes, starting this weekend.
Starting this weekend. So, there's still a lot of cricket. Go out there, there's some great players. And you'll see folks like Bryan behind the stumps.
There's only one of me, but yeah, you'll see people like me.
Having fun, and you in between games you'll catch business people like Rupe and Jay-Z and Boy and Cheek out there. So gentlemen, thank you again, and we look forward to having you again another time as we continue this conversation about cricket in New York. Good night.
It's not a long. It's not a lot of games left. It's getting cold, so please come out and enjoy the rest of the games. It's only a handful of weekend left. Come up.
5 weeks to go.
All right. Thank you.
All right, good evening, gentlemen.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Business that does that.